So River was born at 960 grams, so 2 pounds, 2 ounces.
He barely fit into our hands, and we started comparing, and we're like, he weighs less than the water bottles. We were afraid of touching him at the beginning, like everything else.
I remember someone called me like, hey, so his lungs are not taking. And I just remember like, what? Like, I don't know what was going on. Like, I just passed her the phone, like, I can't deal with this. I don't know what they're talking about, what's going on. And that's when they put him on the, the first breathing apparatus.
No one ever talks to you about having sick babies, right? You have healthy babies, right? You want 10 fingers and 10 toes. A sick child, it's very scary to a parent because we're supposed to protect them, we're supposed to fix them, we're supposed to help them get better.
The way that it was explained to us is that his lungs is a muscle. He couldn't breathe, open them and close them on their own. Normally in kids his condition, they don't normally last too long, or it takes a very long time, or it was just trying to give the reality of our circumstances, because we also kind of kept ourselves in a bubble.
Felt like with the doctors, like, don't put that story on my son. As times kept going, I think even with Dr. Davison, even him seeing like, this guy is a rock star. He's not the typical BPD baby that I'm used to, trach baby. And that's what I kept kind of trying to emphasize. Like, our son is special, he's different, and he's going to show you guys a different side of this severe BPD,
The nurses always instilled on us the first 6 months that we were in the NICU that life is gonna start when we get to Blythedale. That's the stepping stone to get to Blythedale. So it was almost like, yes, you started the finish line, but midpoint is Blythedale and then you're home. They're gonna give you the tools that you need to be able to take your child home.
I think for me it was, getting to Blythedale too, was like a great setup where it was like, you immediately saw that there was a nurse there that was gonna be there for him. But in our mind, in my mind for sure, it turned into, but I need to care for him, I need to be here and take care of him.
When we saw that they were able to do certain things with him, it took the fear of the tubing away.
One of the things that we developed here was the sim lab to make it easier for them to make mistakes or feel comfortable with a mannequin versus their own child. Hearing the vent alarm, disconnecting the vent from a mannequin to desensitize them from actual care. And I don't do this by myself, because as nurses train families to even change a diaper, to bathe the child on mechanical ventilation helps them to be desensitized.
I remember River pulling his trach out one time. Anna just, I don't know if she remembers this, but Anna was kind of she was very cool and calm and collective. And then I remember saying, hey, are you okay? And she was upset. Rightfully so. What parent wouldn't be for the first time that, you pull the trach out? I think that it was great that he did that here, so that this way she knew how to handle that.
Diana was very motivated. Anna was very hesitant at first. Again, when they come over that hump, and understanding why the event is alarming, it becomes easier to understand why we set these numbers for that particular child, and then understanding that makes it easier to learn.
She was so big on like training, because at some point we heard we can bring them outside.
My plans with my child was to be mobile. We have a lot of brunching to catch up on to do. And every Sunday, that was another joke. Every Saturday and Sunday, we dressed them up like we were going to brunch.
They really took their time with that parent education thing. It was really helpful for them. I really liked working with Angela. I feel like she really listened to us. She gave us good confidence. She really gave us good confidence. I felt really comfortable. And then with Corinne, she had a lot of experience with my mom. My mom was like, I need to know what to do to help my grandson. She kind of like took the time, the patience, like thread the needle, put water in the balloon as slowly as she could.
When he got here, I remember his end tidal being in the hundreds. Your end tidal is supposed to be 35 to 45. And his pressures were also, like his peak pressures, his pressure support, they were huge, they were big. They were 14. The average is 5.
For River, at one point he was losing weight, he wasn't gaining weight. The team worked on a different plan on increasing calorie count, also work on his disease process, and as those start to improve, respiratory muscles, the diaphragm, starts to develop, it starts working again, and then the child starts breathing on its own. The outcome is always positive, where we could start weaning off the ventilator.
Dr. Davison was like, no, this boy is ready. because he saw something in the machine that he didn't need it anymore, and he started slowly weaning him off the machine. And weaning meaning lowering the PEEP, then weaning meaning we're gonna take this machine off. And it was just like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you?
He came home without an oxygen machine. We only give him no ventilator, yeah. We only give him oxygen for assistance at night, every now and then, yeah.
To see him off the vent and all, it's just such a beautiful thing. And you know, to be part of Blythedale, to help these parents, give them the tools so that he could succeed, it's pretty amazing. I'm so honored to be part of that. You know, I could probably cry right now, but I'm not going to, but it's pretty cool. You know, how many people could say they were part of something like that?
So we found this restaurant that we used to go all the time.
So we were like, we have to come back here.
Yeah.
We have to bring him back.
So it became full circle that I guess we promised ourselves that whenever he is out the hospital, we will bring him back to this restaurant. So when we finally left Blythedale, I think 2 days later, we came back as a full circle. Like our first outing, one of our first outings with him was like, oh, let's go back over there and come back to the restaurant where we dream of bringing him.
You know, it struck me like, wow, this is our moment of really feeling like a family back at this is what we always wanted. You know, I just had the idea to do it. So I put a onesie on him that said, will you take our last name? She goes to the bathroom. I take off his regular shirt, and underneath I tell her, like, you know, he spit up. So Diana's initial instinct is like, let me see what happened. Like, she snatches him out of my hand. So I'm like, okay, great. I'm like, well, look at his shirt. Look at his shirt. It's ruined, right? So then she like pulls the shirt away, and then she reads like what the shirt says. She looks up at me and sees me. I'm standing there, you know, popping this question. And then the waitress is struggling with the camera behind her, like to try to take the pictures. And then it was just, you know, it was that moment, because that's what the woman said. Before I even told her anything about proposal, she's like, wow, your family's finally together at this table. It's still a journey. It's still a, you know, a road that we have to get, you know, through, but, you know, at least we're home together, and you know, we can feel like a family, you know, as one now doing it. So, you know, and don't get me wrong, you know, everyone at Blythedale became our family, and the NICU nurses for sure are like still a part of our lives, and we hope to continue that. But, you know, now to be here together is very important too. So.